Hello, I'm Jori Epstein with Yahoo Sports, and I am here today with New England Patriots quarterback Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby, how's your day going? How's your week going?
It's good. It's Tuesday, so it's usually our off day, so it's going good. Got a chance to go into the facility, get a little workout in, and enjoying this Boston weather right now.
Well, you guys are coming off an insane overtime game against the Titans. I know the result wasn't ultimately what you wanted, but take me through what the emotions were like in that game and particularly toward the end for you guys.
Yeah, obviously a game like you said, it's an overtime game, hard fought game. We make a crazy drive at the end of the game to go into overtime. Drake makes a great play, to give us a chance, and we're riding high. And obviously, like you said, the results weren't what we wanted, but it's just like football. It's at any moment, any play can be made, and I would say our emotions were very high at the end of the regulation, and then kind of got taken away from us, in the overtime game. But it's just this league is so hard to win games, and I think that's what makes it really fun. It's just that you never know what play is going to be the play.
For sure. Yeah, what did Gerard talk to you guys about in the locker room after the game? Because I've been at two of your games this year. So the first game when you played at the Jets, and then I came to you guys when the Texans played at you.
Mhm.
And both of those, like, I mean, after the second game, Gerard was like, we let Drake down, all of that. And I felt like this was kind of a different game. So how would you characterize what the locker room message was after the game?
Yeah, I think it was more of like, I mean, the message was, we fought hard. It was a game where it was up and down. A lot of swings in the game as far as how the game was going. And a lot of guys stepped up and made plays to give us a chance at the end of the game. Obviously, like you said, like you pretty much said, I mean, obviously the end result is not what we wanted, but I would say the effort and the intent of what we're trying to do was there. And we came up short, and it's always, we go back and watch film. It's like, man, if I could get like three plays back, it
Yeah.
changed the outcome of the game. And he kind of alluded to that at the end of the game. It's just like, man, we're a play here and a play there, a step too short. We got to find ways to make those plays and not be on this side of it and be on the other side of it. And I think that was pretty much the main message that he tried to get through to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And today is the NFL's trade deadline. And while you haven't been traded at the deadline, I don't think, I believe that you were traded from the Patriots to the Colts like
Yeah,
September 2nd. So right after training camp before the season started.
yeah.
Take me through what it's like to be traded. And for the guys who are moving teams today, how do you get caught up to speed so quickly?
Yeah, so I got traded no, literally the first game of the season, the first week of the season, my second year in the league. Crazy experience. You come into the building. I remember eating breakfast, eating lunch, going out to the practice field, and then walking back into the practice facility, walking back to the locker room, and they're like, "Oh, you're getting traded, and you got to fly out within 3 hours." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know if you know
Crazy.
about Boston traffic. I just know where I get to the airport in
Yeah.
3 hours, anyways." So I missed my first flight. Had to get a second
Oh
flight.
no. Yes, that
Um,
Boston to Foxborough is a mess.
exactly. So, but it's crazy. It's you just got to uproot everything. And I went to a place where I didn't know anybody in Indianapolis at the time.
Yeah.
So for a lot of players, I'm pretty sure they're going to places where that they hopefully they know somebody, but sometimes you go to a place where you don't know anybody.
Right.
You kind of slum it out in a hotel room, and you're trying to find a ways to get caught up to speed as far as getting ready for the next game, because the team that you're going to is they're in game mode. They're not playing catch up, whereas you got to play catch up. So it's definitely a crazy experience. I mean, like I said, I haven't got traded on trade deadline, but I can only imagine how crazy it is to do it on November 5th rather than September.
Right, absolutely. And you were playing teams at that point whose quarterbacks had spent months, if not
Yeah.
years, learning their team's playbooks. Like, did the coaching staff simplify the playbook at first and then add more over the time, or what was the approach?
Yeah, I think it's more of that. Like I know my when I got traded my second year, it was kind of, tell me the plays that you know right now. Very simple plays, and then as we try to obviously progress the following weeks here, and after the first game, you got to try to add more plays. So the I think I kind of got that treatment of it. I hope
Yeah.
you guys kind of go through it that way, and not just, hey, here's the playbook, and kind of now just go out there and play in the game. The good thing is a lot of teams are running the same plays, a lot of similar
Yeah.
concepts and things like that. So makes it a little bit easier, but the verbiage and the terminology is really, I think, the hardest part to kind of get down.
For sure. I think that you were traded in Chris Ballard's first year as general manager for the
Yeah.
Colts. He's still there. Obviously, there's been some turnover in the organization, but how would you describe like he and the Colts' approach to the quarterback position since you got to see that for several years?
Uh, I think it's always been surrounded about around the quarterback. I think he kind of builds a team around the quarterback.
Mm,
Whereas, a lot of other teams, I think not a lot of other teams, but you can see around some teams are defensive focus or I would say like skill position focused. Whereas, there I know he kind of always tried to base it around the quarterback. The problem is, it's been a lot of quarterbacks going through there since I've been there
yeah.
myself. But um, I think that's kind of where he's always kind of tried to start his, I think, team building around the quarterback.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you're currently in a position where the Patriots brought you back, but in a lot of teams around the league, the rookie quarterback drafted highly is going to start at some point. It's not even always reflective of the veterans' play. It's just sort of the direction they're moving. The Colts did the opposite, and they had a young quarterback who's basically a rookie. He played 10 games, sat him and brought Joe Flacco up to start. Did that surprise you? Because like you've experienced the other way, which is much more common.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It surprised me a little bit just because of, I guess, yeah, it's that's their guy that they drafted in the first rounder, and Joe kind of was there to support him and stuff like that, which I think Joe did. I doubt
Yeah.
he kind of tried to do it a different way, but I was definitely surprised by it a little bit. But it's this league. Nothing surprised me at this point. I've been in the league 9 years, and I'm kind of like,
Right.
man, I'm not surprised by a lot of things that go on.
Yeah, but can you help me understand it? Because when I'm like I talked to Chris Ballard at training camp, not this year, but last year, and he was like, "Oh, it'll be a roller coaster. That's what it's like when you draft a quarterback who has such a high ceiling, but
Yeah,
hasn't gotten the same number of snaps in college that, I mean, Drake got some, but then you have guys like Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix come into this league with just a ton of college snaps
yeah.
between COVID and transferring and whatnot. Like, I just, I feel like I'm missing something in this decision that you would understand better having been with the Colts.
Uh, I mean, I wish I could. It's just so hard when I'm not with me not being there and being able to
Yeah,
see the meeting it or being around on the practice field and being like, oh, this is why they're doing it. I
yeah.
think, I mean, I remember because Drake's friends with Josh Downs, that's there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And we when we heard the news, we were just as shocked as everybody was like, wait, what? Like, trust me, when I saw it, I was like, wait, they're doing what?
Yeah.
Especially, I feel like it's kind of still early in the season, like it's not. But I think, yeah, I would. I'm very interested to see how that whole thing unfolds.
Yeah, absolutely. What has it been like working with Drake so far, and what have you learned about him as he starts to develop in the league? Because you're like the wise vet who's got all these things to teach him in addition to playing and winning a game last week.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Man, he reminds me of how much older I am than him because he's so young. He's 21, I'm 31, about to be 32, and it's just like, but he just makes every day so fun. It's just being able to see his development over from coming. I think he got there in May or something like that, or whatever, whenever the point he got there in the season, off season, and just seeing his development's been pretty cool. He's a lot of fun where he asks a lot of questions. He's a football junkie, so like, he comes from his family's a big sports background, so they're all invested in sports, and he's just asks a lot of questions, and we have a lot of fun, talk a lot of football, and he always asks me about a lot of the quarterbacks that I've played with, whether it was Philip, Tom, Andrew, even his best friend is Sam. We are watching film today, and we're talking about we're playing the Bears this week, so
Right.
talking about Sam's game last year versus the Bears and things like that. So
Mm.
it's pretty cool.
Give me an example of like a question or two he's asked, or like a moment that really stands out from y'all breaking down a defense. Because I love how you guys have just a whole level of detail that whether it's reporters or fans, we really can't understand.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're watching film today, and he's asking about like a certain defensive tail. Like, hey, will I be able to see that in the game? You think, and be able to get to this check? So we're trying to, try to check a play versus a bad look into a better play, and he like brought up a play from like when Sam played, even though I know he's watching it because it's his best friend, but
Yeah.
he's understanding the game more, so he's asking those questions to try to help, put us in the best position possible. I think being able to ask those questions at this young of a in his career is pretty cool. Just because I know a lot of guys aren't. I mean, I know a lot of guys in year 5 that don't even ask some of these questions. So I think
Yeah.
that's been pretty cool. And I know we're sitting there talking. I was like, man, I'm like happy that you're asking these questions. Like, I mean, not just to me, but even to our coaching staff. That you're challenging them to make sure that we're doing the best thing possible. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I met with Elliot when I came to you guys this year in training camp, and he was talking about how when they interviewed Drake, I think the way he put it was basically they're like, wanted to go through his worst game and his best game, and they asked about his worst game first in college, and he was like so detail oriented about everything that went wrong, much of which really was like other people on the team, but he was taking accountability for it, that they
Yeah,
never even got to the best game, and it's like that's the way that you want your quarterback to be approaching the
yeah,
preparation.
for sure, definitely for sure.
You played the Jets twice this year. They looked very different in the 2 games that you played them. From a defensive standpoint, because Robert Saleh was no longer there the second time you played, how did you see their defense differently from game one to game two?
I think it was very honestly very similar. That's why I think we had a game plan that, I think it was more of protection conscious. Obviously after the first game, they kind of got out there, it's pretty good up front and things like that. But I think the second go round, it was just more of just playing cleaner. I think we had we were on a short week that week. The first time we played
Right,
them,
Thursday night.
coming and playing with a lot of rookies in different spots that guys haven't been playing. So it was a chance for us this time. Our guys are settling in through a week of preparation as far as the plan, and I mean they had most of the same guys out there. I think it really was just our execution was a lot better. This time around. And we were able to, get the ball out on time and things like that and kind of exploit. But it was the same defense. Probably a little less pressure, I think, from them, and more coverage. But for the most part, it was the same thing, same game plan.
Was that in part because of how your offensive line has settled? Because I know when I was there, when you guys played the Texans, a lot of your offensive linemen were even taking me through like how y'all do, what was it like the third down protections meeting on Wednesday or something like that,
Yeah,
and how you guys as quarterbacks lead the protections meeting, which I thought was interesting.
yeah. So we will lead the third down protection meeting, but I think when you go back to Friday, we had no third down protection meet like the Thursday night game. We had no third. It was just very condensed because you don't really get a lot of time to see, and especially so early in the season, you don't really get a chance to get a lot of different looks. And then on top of that, you got a lot of different younger guys playing. So now you got to just get them up to speed on playing rather than so I think it was a lot of factors in those first games that kind of, were not in our favor, I would say. But second game, got a lot of different guys that have played through the season with each other and getting those reps. So I think that kind of helped us out a lot.
Bill Belichick, I know you only were with him, I believe, in 1 year in New England. You get back after he's gone, but do you think he'll be coaching next year? And what do you think the league should expect for that?
I definitely think he'll coach next year. I think he's too good of a coach not to be coaching. I definitely think he has that itch still. I see him on like what is it like Sunday day football, and then he's doing like the man
And Monday
podcast.
night.
Yeah, so he's definitely keeping himself sharpened on the game. I definitely if he wasn't out, he'll be like on a beach or somewhere on a boat playing golf and stuff like that. So I definitely think he's still trying to stay sharp on what's going on around the league and things like that. Just because I think he'll be back in the league next year. I think he's like I said, people have craved for his style of coaching. So I definitely think he'll be back in next year.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time, Jacoby. I
Thank you so
really
much.
appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.